You've got to get off Hinge. You've got to get off the dating apps.
Welcome back to the Dating View. In today's video, men and women share their honest opinions on dating apps and explain why many believe they simply aren't working, and in some cases, have actually made modern dating worse. If you enjoy videos about modern dating, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more.
Me and my buddy were talking about this the other night, and I think we figured out why people don't work out on dating apps a lot of the times. And it has to do with the like. The like is the dopamine hit. That's the most fun part because the conversation and the planning, that's usually the difficult part. You know, you got to come out with the opener. You got to like figure out conversation. It's just like, it's too much. And the truth is, there's a lot of people that we know personally that just stack their likes. It's not even about like, oh, like actually planning on dating. It's just like, how many likes can I get?
I think I cracked the code on why Hinge is now the bad place. One thing I believe to be true is that if a service is free or very cheap, it means that you are the product. And I think about this a lot in the context of many of these apps that came out in the mid-aughts. They were originally very free or cheap, and now they're kind of a pay-to-play game. The infrastructure of Hinge is set up so that attractive, desirable matches are hidden behind a kind of paywall, the standouts section. You are given 1 rose per week, and in order to attempt to match with additional people that are kept behind this paywall, you must purchase additional roses. Colloquially on TikTok and Reddit, people call this rose jail. The research on dating apps shows that only a small number of women get a very large number of likes. And these women, their profiles are shown first, they are paywalled, and essentially they are being used by these apps and by the algorithm as kind of dangling carrots to entice men to either stay on the app or to pay more money to send a rose. This has produced a demand-supply disparity where large numbers of men are vying for a small number of women. The research shows that 50% of the likes that men send to women go to 25% of the women, and that 50% of women like 15% of the men. And competition is much stiffer for men because there are more men than women on these apps. So knowing these statistics, if these apps were actually invested in helping people to make matches, it seems like they would try to help people match laterally as opposed to paywalling very attractive users, unless they are not interested in people matching at all. They're just interested in making money. If you're an attractive person on these apps, your profile is being used like a dangling carrot to entice people to pay to play, which doesn't sit well with me, and it also means there's a giant gap in the market for someone to create something that is more equitable. Hinge also uses AI and machine learning models to predict your attractiveness based on things like match success and even its perception of facial symmetry. This hurts the people that are perceived as more attractive too, because their profile is being hidden from regular users and only featured in the standouts, which means that you're only matching with people who paid to send a rose or sent you their once weekly free rose. Not to mention, they want everyone to be paying for boosts. These apps know that if they can hide you from people who are your type, they can milk your money. So back to what I said in the beginning, if you're receiving a service for free, it's because you are the product. Women are the product on these apps because there are far fewer women as opposed to men. So they have to incentivize men to use these apps by milking women who are perceived as attractive for as much money as they possibly can. And this is something that should piss everyone off.
Dating apps are rigged not just for men, but for women as well. Most women will want a guy who's over 6 feet tall and earns over 6 figures. They will literally change the height preference to only 6 feet and above. Guess how many guys in the world are actually above 6 feet? 10 to 15% are over 6 feet and also earn 6 figures. 3%. Now, because most women want the same type of guy, all the other guys are just eliminated from the dating app pool. They have to do 1,000 swipes for a coffee date. Versus the top percentage of the guys who are at least 6 feet or above and relatively good looking will get literally all the matches. Now, the reason this is also a fuck problem for women is that they all want the same guy. And that makes it so that the guy doesn't know which girl to choose because he has so many options. Become wrapped in this mindset of, oh, what if there's somebody who's better than her? The woman wants to sleep with the guy sleeps with her and then never texts her back. And the woman just feels more insecure and calls him a fuckboy and a playboy and then starts hating men. All women generally want the top percentage of guys. All the other guys get ignored, while those top percentage of guys have too many options to choose from and will never commit to an actual girl. So if you're a guy who's not in the top percentage, you should continue to try to be at the top percentage. And if you're a guy who's in the top percentage, you should focus on literally figuring out your commitment issues, because you're going to die alone if you don't end up committing. And if you're a girl, you should try to figure out what you are willing to compromise on, because short kings generally have the best personalities. Guys who are 6'5" generally have zero personality because they don't need it. All the girls come flocking to them anyways by them literally just looking tall. Summary of the video: women, start giving short kings a chance. Comment down below what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Dating apps are the modern day casinos, and you're not meant to win. Just stick with me and I will break this down so you can understand what I'm talking about. I'm obsessed with listening to podcasts, and yesterday I listened to the Diary of a CEO interviewing Tim Ferriss. I talked about a lot of things, including mental health, and he gives a brief mention to dating apps and how he thinks they're like casinos. And then last night, I finished watching the movie Swiped, which is about how Tinder and Bumble was founded from a Whitney Wolf perspective. And I found the whole thing very interesting. And so I wrote my first ever Substack, and I called it Dating Apps, the Slot Machine in Your Pocket. And I want to read you a little bit about what I wrote and why I think that dating apps are actually worse for your mental health than you think. I'm just going to look off screen and read off my Substack. The more I learn, the clearer it becomes. Dating apps aren't matchmakers. They're casinos. Not metaphorically, not poetically. Literally, in design, in psychology, in the business model. Every app is built on the same behavioral framework as slot machines. Number 1, variable rewards. You don't know when you'll get a match, which makes each swipe more addictive. Number 2, dopamine loops. Your brain gets a tiny hit of pleasure every time the screen flashes. It's a match. Number 3, near miss engineering. Those you've been liked by someone, pay to see who prompts, pure casino logic. Or on Hinge, it says you're most compatible with. Number 4, endless play. There's just no natural stopping point. You just keep swiping and swiping and swiping. So when you view it through this lens, it clicks. Dating apps aren't trying to help you find love. They're trying to keep you in the building, just like casinos. Hinge's tagline is the dating app designed to be deleted. And I think it's a really good tagline. I think it's absolutely incredible marketing, but it's absolute fucking nonsense. Because if an app was actually designed to be deleted, there would be fewer users over time, less engagement, fewer monthly subscription, less revenue. But apps don't celebrate when you find love. They don't throw you a virtual bouquet. They don't close your account automatically. They sit quietly, waiting for the day things go wrong, waiting for you to return, waiting for you to start swiping again. It's a business model built on reoccurring heartbreak. For years, I kept asking myself, why am I still single? Why is everyone still single? I don't think people on the apps are dating intentionally anymore. I don't think people are taking it seriously. You're up against people scrolling on a toilet, people swiping while bored in line, people treating profiles like trading cards, people not emotionally available, and people who want dopamine, not the relationship. So you're not building connection, you're gambling for it. And after countless dates, almost connections, and you seem great but moments, I realized something. I'm not the problem. The apps are. People talk about alcohol, gambling, gaming. No one talks about dating apps when it comes to addiction. But the symptoms are basically the same. You check it every day. You feel a pull to swipe even when you don't want to. You get a bit of excitement. You feel anxious. You use the app to soothe loneliness and boredom, and you feel worse after using it, but you're unable to stop. That's not connection, that's addiction. I refuse to participate in something that hijacks the brain under the guise of finding love. I've made the call, I'm out, I'm done. Not because dating is hopeless, but because this system is not built for humans, it's built for profit. And if love is a casino, I want no part in it. So I wrote a little bit more in my Substack, and I'm going to link it to you so you can keep reading. But I found it very interesting to write about it. And the more I think about it, the more I agree with this perspective. And as someone who is single right now, I categorically refuse to get back on the dating apps for so many reasons, including this one. So I hope that if you're thinking about whether you should delete the dating apps or get back on them or get on them for the first time if you're single, I hope you don't do it. And I hope you believe that you can still find true love outside of dating apps.
There will never be a point where I am so lonely I will use dating apps again, and here is the simple reason why. A couple years ago, I decided I wanted to get back into the dating pool. I wanted to try my luck once again. So I hopped on those apps. I put up the nicest picture of myself. I put in a funny bio and mentioned the fact that I am over 6 feet because that seems to do the trick a lot of the time. A few weeks later, we had a couple matches. The first match seemed good. Really nice girl. We chatted for a little while, decided to meet up for lunch. Went out, had a great lunch, I thought. She said, I'm just looking for a friend. I was okay with that because I had come out of a bad relationship. I didn't want to jump right into something. I'd like to get to know somebody, so I'm okay with that. Fast forward a couple weeks, we're chatting with that girl. Very nice. She wants to go out and go to a rave. She's never been to one. I was like, I'll take you. I'll show you the ropes. I know a good one coming up. She had also never seen a Circus Olay act, and there happened to be a rave Circus Olay act thing that happened in my city that week. So I bought tickets and told her we could go. It's on me. Don't worry about it. I didn't expect anything. I didn't want anything from her except to have a good time. That's it. That's all. And we did. We had a really good time. I ended up getting a hotel downtown because I didn't want to drive to my house. It was way easier just to get a hotel, stay the night there, and then I could drink and not have to worry about it. I asked her, hey, if you want to stay the night, you can. I can get 2 beds. Don't worry about it. We don't have to sleep in the same bed. This is not me trying to be sneaky and like, oh, you want to stay the night with me? I'm going to get a hotel room. No, that was not it at all. I was just trying to be nice. She told me no. Cool. It's all good. No worries. We went to the show. She had a good time. We had a decent amount to drink, but not that much. I was like, all right, you have a good night. Do you want to get an Uber home, a taxi? Do you want me to wait for you? Because I'm going to go back to the hotel. It's getting late. I'm tired. I want to sleep. She was like, well, how about we hang out for a little bit more at your hotel room? Okay. Sure. Go back to the hotel room. Have a good couple conversations. I end up falling asleep. She falls asleep in the same king-size bed as me. And then the next morning we wake up, she leaves looking embarrassed. Like we fell asleep, fully clothed. All of a sudden her energy changes, like 180s on me, and she's not answering my messages. She's taking days to respond. Okay, whatever, fine. Leave it alone. So she ghosted me. Second girl who matches with me seems really nice, but I'm confused because it looks like she might have a boyfriend. We're chatting, we're getting to know each other a little bit, and I just casually mentioned, hey, like, is that guy in the picture your boyfriend, or is he somebody else? Because y'all really close together in this picture, and if y'all siblings is a little, I don't want to be involved in that. She deadass hits me with the, oh no, that's my boyfriend, but he's cool with me being on Tinder. What? Come to find out, the whole reason her boyfriend was cool with her being on Tinder was because she would go on there, match with guys, and then invite them over for naughty playtime while her boyfriend watched. But it didn't stop at watching. She told me that he likes to be humiliated when her and another guy are doing the dirty and he's watching. And I almost blew my mind. What? That's a thing? She asked me if I wanted to come over and meet. I said no. We're not doing this. No, thank you for the offer. I appreciate it. I think, but no, we're not doing that. You want me to humiliate your boyfriend? No! No! The third and final girl we match with seems really nice. You know, this might go off. A little bit of a face tattoo, but, you know, we can work around that, I guess. Should have been my first red flag, but it wasn't. Whatever, we're moving on. She tells me that she's coming to my city because she doesn't live in my city. She lives in another city. She's coming to my city on this day and asked me if I want to meet up. Sure, we can go out for a date. We can go get some drinks, get to know each other a little better because I'm like, I need something. This is, so far I'm 0 for 2. We go out for dinner, have a really nice dinner, you know? I get her dinner. The waitress is saying, oh, you guys are such a cute couple. You know, we're learning about each other, getting to know each other, just like telling each other stories. Okay, people are looking at us and like, oh, you guys, how long have you guys been together? It's like, no, I just met this girl, I don't know what you're saying. All these people in the restaurant are shipping us. But it starts to kind of dawn on me that it's weird that this girl keeps going back and forth to the washroom a lot during this date. And hasn't really been touching her food. She's just been drinking a lot and not really eating anything. So I'm a little weirded out by that. I don't really get that. And when I say like, I mean like multiple times to the washroom. And you know what? Hey, I got a tiny bladder too sometimes, so I get that. But it was like 10 times within an hour at one point. And I was like, this is a little weird. She tells me she's not really hungry, which is why she's not eating. So we pack up the dinner and she's like, hey, do you want to go to the casino? I want to see if we can win some money. Okay? I'm not really a casino guy, but sure, like, might as well. Sometimes we win big, baby. Go over to this, like, little small casino that they had in the restaurant because we realized the one that she wanted to go to was, like, an hour away from us. And I was like, bro, it's cold outside. I'm not driving an hour over there just to go lose money. So she's playing the little slot game at the restaurant that we were at. Not really winning anything, but having a good time, I guess. And I'm just chatting with her, getting to know her, watching her play because, like, I don't really want to lose money on this shit. After her playing the VLTs for a few minutes, she's like, okay, I gotta go to the washroom again. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry to ask, are you okay? Like, I don't mean to be rude, but like, you've been going to the washroom a lot. Like, if you don't want to hang out with me, that's okay. I don't know what this game is. I'm kind of concerned at this point. She says, oh, no, sorry. It's nothing to do with you. I have to go powder my nose. She literally meant go powder her nose. She was doing lines in the bathroom, bumps in the bathroom while we were on this date the whole time. And I wasn't really putting it together. And I'm not that judgmental. Okay, you know what? Go off, do what you think. But like, I don't think I really want to be a part of that right now in my life. I'm sorry. She's telling me this. She says, yeah, sorry. It's just a habit from my old days when I used to dance a lot. And I was like, dance a lot? Like, were you a ballerina? Were you like tap dance? Ballroom? What kind of dance? She says, oh no, when I used to strip. When I used to strip at the clubs all the time for money, I would do a lot of drugs so that I could keep going during the late nights and the extra people that would come in at like 4 a.m. So now the tattoo and the bag of drugs are starting to make sense. I was like, okay, well, are you still a dancer? Because like, if you are, that's cool. I'm too fucking jealous. So this isn't going to work if you're still dancing. Sorry, I'll just let you know right now. We're not going to waste each other's time. She says, oh no, I've been doing a lot more stuff with my life. Oh, that's good. Yeah. She tells me how she bought a house. Like, oh, that's awesome. So what do you do for work then? Because like, you've kind of been vague about it all night when I've been asking you about it. This woman tells me that the reason she came up to Calgary was because she needed to buy some drugs so that she could go back and sell them to her clients. And the only guys that would have the drugs she needed were in Calgary, which is why she came. She told me it was a business trip. I didn't think it was that kind of business trip. So after that day, we had to end it real quick. And like, she was real mad at me for a while, but then would call me randomly within the course of like a couple months and be like, oh, hey, how are you? And I was like, I thought you fucking yelled at me like 2 days ago. Why are you calling me? And she was like, oh, no, sorry. I was just kind of in a mood. I haven't been sleeping. And I'm like, yeah, I wonder why you fucking doing all these goddamn drugs. So I had to block her because she would not stop talking to me and texting me and calling me and asking how I was. And I was like, bro, I cannot do this hot and cold. It was too much. Huh? So those are the 3 main reasons I would never download another dating app again. I swear to God.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I am 57 years old and I went on 145 first dates in 4 years. And I want to talk about the dating apps. I feel like I'm a bit of an expert. I did go on 145 first dates. Granted, it was in my local northeastern area, and granted, it was all men pretty much in their 50s, a little bit younger, some of them a little bit older. But I want to talk about my experiences and why I really do think the dating apps are problematic. First of all, I think that they should all just change their name to Predator.com. The newer ones can be Predator 2.0 and Predator 3.0.com. But first, let me just say a majority of these men are predators. And I think we have to, unfortunately, as women, consider ourselves a resource. We are a resource that men want, period. They want us much more than we want them, and they need us much more. And they are looking for our resources. It doesn't have to just be sex, but it mostly is. Even our time, attention, company at a dinner, going to a party as a date, we are a resource that, unfortunately, they look at us simply like that, and we can be easily replaced. So because of that, I think that we are, as women, putting ourselves out there with kind of this innocent thought that we're going to find love and a partner, and they're looking like, what can I get from the available women out there? Number one would be sex, but there's so many other things. Even just, accompanying someone to a party and making him look good. Been there. It's we are simply a resource and a deliverable. And I'm sorry, that is why I think, number one, you are putting yourself in a situation where all predators' eyes are on you and you are targeted. Period. End of story. I mean, I'm not bragging here, but I will tell you, when I would go on the dating apps, hundreds of likes, hundreds. And 99% of them I wouldn't even talk to. They were not my equal. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. If a man can't put together a profile that is somewhat attractive and doesn't say something stupid, then they're never going to be a good partner in real life. So that eliminated most all of them. They can't even take a good picture of themselves and keep their mouth shut. So they were eliminated automatically. Okay, secondly, not only is it dangerous to start with, but the apps don't do any research as to the people on their apps. And so anyone can be out there, from, we could say the stereotypical serial killer, but also just someone who's got a really problematic background. Now, personally, I did use truthfinder.com before I went on a date, so I did my research, but the average person would just think, oh, I'm meeting someone who lives in the next town over. It's really much more serious than that. I uncovered a lot of issues, including arrests for disorderly conduct, all kinds of things. So I think that you're putting yourself out there, kind of opened up to a world, you probably want nothing to do with. So that's another issue. Third, if you could swipe about 500 times and swipe left and not swipe right, I think that takes a toll on someone's mental health, because you start to realize that there aren't available men out there that you would want to date. And if there is one or two, 5,000 other women want to date him too. And he's got an ego that can't fit through the door. So he's not worth dating. And it's just kind of depressing to go left, 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 left. You're like, this is a waste of time. And how much time can you waste swiping? A lot. Take it from me. And I gave 145 men a chance, and what I uncovered was they were problematic in themselves, their lifestyle, the baggage that they brought. And do we all have it? Yes, but these were issues I would not want to bring into my life. And that's the last thing. If a man is on a dating app and they haven't been scooped up or haven't been introduced by a friend to a woman, that's, I think, what I realize now is there's a reason they're on the dating app, because there's tons of good women looking for men. I mean, solid, good women. And if a friend knows a single man who's good, they're going to refer you. My friends don't know anyone. What does that tell you? And that's why so many women are on the dating apps looking for love, but there's no one. And it's just really not good for your mental health. You're putting yourself at risk every time. It's dangerous. And honestly, it's a time waster. And these apps keep you hooked, thinking like the next one's going to be the one. It's not. Save yourself the trouble. Stay off those dating apps. Do not give them a sense. If you're going to use it, at least use the free versions. It's not waste. Don't waste your money. It's really a waste of time. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on dating apps. And I do feel that I'm a bit of an expert. And let me know if you've used dating apps and if you've been successful or not.
I think dating apps are hurting young people in far more ways than just their love lives, and today I just want to talk about 8 reasons why I think that. Number 1, and this is the biggest one, you are not dating people on dating apps, you are convincing them to date you. Tell me you haven't done this before. You download one of the apps, you spend like 6 hours picking out your pictures, you ask your friends for good pictures of you, you look through all the prompts, you write the best answers you can think of, you're trying to be funny but quirky but low-key chill, and after all that, you put it together in the perfect sequence, you put your profile up, you check a couple hours later, and you have no fucking matches. What's your first thought? Well, damn, something must be wrong with me. I must be ugly. I must not be funny. I must be weird. I must be just some kind of loser, right? And then your next thought is what? Oh, I just need better pictures. I need better prompts. I need to kind of update things. And then you start to realize like, oh my God, I have to like try and convince these people that they should pick me as a match, or like do something so compelling that somebody actually wants to have a conversation with me. So all of a sudden, this thing that was supposed to be exciting and promising and fun turns into a job, because you have to constantly say the right thing or present the right image of yourself, or you're not going to get a response. And you're not not even thinking about making good connections or having good conversations, because all you're doing is constantly trying to make sure that you're being somebody that somebody else likes, even if that's not who you really are. Number 2, dating apps completely ruin your perception of time. When I used to be on dating apps, I would always think, oh, that next person for me is just around the corner. They're one swipe away. Maybe they're on a different app. And so I would show up every day like it was my fucking job, swiping, managing my likes, making sure that I could be available to that person when I found them, because I was convinced that they were right there and that it was bound to happen at any point. And I think it just creates this constant sense of anxiety that puts you in a very short-term focus, thinking that your person is right there. You just got to keep swiping. You just got to get on the apps every day. You completely forget the fact that you are a young adult who has so much time, not only to find a partner, but just to experience life and learn things about ourselves and find out what we like and what we don't like. I think it makes you relinquish your ability to let life just play out naturally, and you kind of put your life in the hands of an algorithm. And I think it creates this sense of dependency on not just a dating app, but the internet in general to provide things for you, rather than making you think that you're capable of going and finding them yourself. All right, we got to speed this up. Number 3, dating apps equal desperation. When I used to go on dating apps and I'd see someone who I thought was cool or funny, I would be like, wow, they actually seem like maybe they're my type. And then my next thought would be, okay, wait, why are they on a dating app? They can't be that cool if they're on an app, right? And then my next thought would be, well, what the hell are you doing? You're on a dating app, so clearly you're here because it feels like you're missing something, right? What I'm describing is this quiet, unspoken desperation that I think everybody can feel when they're on dating apps, but nobody wants to admit it because we're all in the same boat. To me, getting on a dating app always felt like you were kind of having to admit that you're lonely and that you want to be with somebody because you just can't stand to be by yourself. Because in my head, I would always think, well, I'm happy being alone, but then I'd get on a dating app and I'd be like, well, I must not be that happy being alone if I am on a dating app, because that's me basically saying I want to be with somebody. And that's just something you don't have to experience in the real world. You're not walking around with a shirt that says, I'm lonely, please love me. You're a person who's meeting other people where they are at that given moment, instead of starting at second base and being like, well, here we are. Can we try and make something romantic happen here? Also, you see the same people over and over again. Like, there was a point where I was on multiple apps at the same time. I think it was Tinder and Hinge, and I would see the same people on different apps and I'd be like, what a fucking loser. And then my next thought would be, you're doing the same shit, dude. Like, you must look like an absolute dork right now. And it would just make me feel so bad, despite the fact that I just wanted to talk to people and like try to get to know people, because where else am I supposed to do it? And that leads me to point number 4, which is dating apps are where everybody is. So you kind of don't have a choice but to get on them if you want to date somebody. Am I being a little dramatic? Yeah. Can you find people in real life? Of course. But I think the vast majority of people my age that I know have been on or are currently on dating apps. And so when you look around at everybody that's in your kind of age range, you can't help but think to yourself that if you want to find somebody, you got to try out a dating app. And so even if it's not really for you and you'd rather meet somebody in real life, you feel this pressure to do it, and then you get on there and you just don't feel like yourself, and kind of from the get-go, you're just screwed. At the end of the day, you kind of blame it all on yourself because you think to yourself, well, I'm not cute enough, I'm not whatever enough because I'm not succeeding here, when really the platform might just not be for you, but you feel like you got to be there. Number 5, I think dating apps also really mess with your ability to date in person. I literally know a guy who saw a girl at a bar that he thought was cute, but he knew her because he had seen her on Tinder before. And so instead of deciding to go up to her in person, he chose to wait and see if she came up on Tinder again so that he could swipe on her that way and not have to talk to her in person. He told me that at first. I was like, my brother in Christ, we have lost the plot. But then my next thought was, yeah, why would he even approach her in person when he could totally avoid the possibility of being rejected and just try and take his chances on a dating app? Because what's the worst thing that could happen on a dating app? Nothing. The worst thing that can happen in real life feels so much more daunting and becomes something that people no longer want to do when they realize that they can completely avoid that discomfort or that hurt or that awkwardness that comes with having to shoot your shot in person. Number 6, if you're still with me, God bless you, and I'm concerned for you. But anyways, number 6, dating apps keep you perfectly unhappy. I can't tell you how many times I deleted, then re-downloaded, then uninstalled, then switched to different dating apps when I was dating online. And I know that a lot of people do this because literally all my friends who are single right now are currently going through a phase of this. I think it's because dating apps are rarely enough to give you a meaningful connection with somebody, but they put you in a position where you don't really feel comfortable or confident enough to try and date in the real world, and so you sit in this place of perfect dissatisfaction with your dating life. Because it feels like you're not really capable of romantically connecting with anybody on a dating app, but you just literally have no clue how to try it in person anymore, or if people even do try dating in person anymore. So you just sit in this place of hating where your dating life is and needing to continually go back to dating apps because you don't feel like there's another way to do it. Number 7, there's data to back all this up. I looked up some numbers and I found a study that said, as of April 2024, people are spending an average of 51 minutes per day on dating apps. Yet at the same time, a study ran in July of last year also found that about 80% of Gen Z adults are burnt out by dating apps. So how is it that we're spending more and more time online trying to find dates, and yet at the same time
time, everybody hates it. People invest so much time and energy now into dating, they literally spend money on the apps, and the only thing they ever walk away with is this idea that dating isn't for them and that they're not meant to be in relationships and that dating sucks. Number 8, last one, dating apps set you up so poorly for long-term relationships. Everybody loves dating apps because they're low commitment and you can kind of just play the field, but I think it's created this generation of people who feel like they are constantly stuck in talking stages or little flings or just serial short-term relationships. Constantly see people talking online about, oh, everybody ghosts me now, and oh, I can't get into a long-term relationship, I keep getting led on, and I think it's because of this, because it's so easy to ditch people now when things get hard. Because like, what's the point in arguing with somebody or having an awkward conversation about politics or your upbringing when you could just go find somebody else on a dating app who will not ask you those questions and who won't press you about your upbringing and who won't force you to inspect yourself or who won't ask you to be exclusive or who won't challenge you in any way or force you to face conflict. It's just easier to find somebody else than to learn how to deal with the conflict or to make somebody feel better if you hurt their feelings. All right, if you made it this far, I don't even know what to say. I hope you're okay. That was just my idea on how all this online dating stuff is going. I'd love to hear what any of you think if you're still watching, and I'm trying to kind of make like a podcast on TikTok here, so if you like it, just follow for more, I guess.
With all due respect, if you consider getting on dating apps as going after what you want, I am sad to inform you that you are extremely mistaken. You have to understand that dating apps are quite literally outsourcing your dating pool options, your potential mates, to an algorithm. It's the same thing as people posting a video on social media. You know how many videos are posted on social media every day and just how many actually get a significant amount of views or even reach their target audience? Because there are videos that I have made that in which I'm trying to reach a certain demographic and they end up just going completely elsewhere. Like, I made a video about having millennial parents and I was expecting it to reach other people my age that have millennial parents. Nope! It reached the freaking grown adult millennial parents. And I'm just saying this in the context of dating apps that your profile might not even reach the people that you want to reach. You might get an entirely different group of men or women or, whatever you're into. So, dude, it's just, that's just not a valid way of finding your partner. How many people genuinely find their soulmate on there? Dude, dating apps want you to stay on there. They don't want you to find the person for you. They don't want you to find your soulmate. They don't want you to go marry someone, because then that means they don't get any more business. They wouldn't get any more subscription to their Tinder or Hinge Premium. You understand? Those apps are just full of people that are after nothing more than lust. That's not getting after it. Anything but that.